Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the National Agricultural Code, which the Bureau of Indian Standard is trying to formulate largely to benefit the agricultural sector of India. So what is the National Agricultural Code? What is its objective, feature, and how it is going to help the agriculture? Let us try to discuss in more detail. So first of all, to give you the background of this particular topic, the BIS or the Bureau of Indian Standard, it has begun a process of formulating NAC, that is a National Agricultural Code. It is similar on the lines of the NBC, that is the National Bending Coals, that has been formulated, and also the National Electrical Code. So in this regard, the BIS is something that we can call as a national body which sets standards for the different products across various economic sectors. And the agriculture sector, as far as we talk about, the BIS already before NAC has set up various standards that applies to the agricultural machineries such as tractors, harvesters, etc., as well as various input products of agriculture ranging from fertilizers, pesticides to all different kind of insecticide and chemicals. So NAC is basically what we can call as the extension of the same process. So if you try to understand NAC in more detail, it will cover not only a particular what we can say subsector of the agriculture, but it is going to cover the entire agricultural cycle, right from the input or we can say production, sowing of the crops till the harvesting of the crops and its marketing. And it will also contain a guidance note for the future standardization that might happen in the agriculture sector, largely due to the influx of the science and technology in this sector, and also the what we can say is the inclusion of the internet and all that. So the code will basically have two parts. The first part is what is referred as the general principles. General principle is something that will be applicable for the all crops that is sown and grown in India, and the second part of the code will be specific to a particular crop, and it will set standards for the likes of paddy, wheat, oilseeds and pulses. In this regard, the National Agriculture Code will serve as a guide not only for farmers but also for the agricultural universities as well as the agricultural officials who are involved in the field. So this is what we can say basically about the NAC. Now the coverage of NAC is something that will be applicable over the entire agricultural processes as well as the post-harvest operations as well. Thus, for example, the selection of crops for a particular agronomic areas, the preparation of land, how it should be done for sowing of a particular crop. The sowing or transplanting method itself is something that will be standardized. Also the irrigation and drainage as well as the health management of the soil is something that will be covered by the National Agricultural Code. As we know that in the many parts of India, including especially the most fertile northwestern region of India, due to the over irrigation, we are facing the problem of heavy salinity that has reduced the overall crop yield in these areas. So standardization of irrigation practices, drainage practices is something that is bound to help the farmers here as well as the overall crop yield and productivity also. The second standard it is going to set is for the management of the input in the agriculture sector that will be applicable over the use of chemical fertilizers, use of pesticides as well as weedicides. Because many times in the agriculture produce of India also, especially when it is exported to other countries, there has been what we can say is return of these products because of the high amount of fertilizer, pesticides or weedicide residue. So this is something that is expected to be controlled by the standards that will be put for the same. And third is something that will be a standard for the crop storage and traceability also, so that we can or the government can easily understand that how much is production and how this production is distributed across India, and also it will help the government in easy procurement for distribution under the public distribution systems, and also by having a proper standard for crop storage, the problem that the crop faces or the kind of diseases that the crop or many time grains and other agricultural product face is something that can be reduced and brought down. Now it will also cover all new and emerging areas as well, such as we know that on these days we are having focus on the natural farming, we are having focus on the organic farming, especially in the state of Sikkim in India, which has become the first organic farming state of India, and also we are trying to include IoT, that is Internet of Things, in the field of agriculture, and overall it will help in intensifying the agriculture in India and also increasing the overall crop output or crop productivity. So all these will be covered by the National Agriculture Code itself. So if you try to broadly analyze the objectives of the NSE, that what is the objective NSE is going to fulfill once it is completed by the BIS. So the broad objective we can say is to create an implementable national code covering the recommendation for the agricultural practices, taking agroclimatic zones into account. Agroclimatic zones, if we talk about India, is basically defined based on the availability of the temperature and the rainfall. So as we can see, several different agroclimatic zones we can assign and identify India, ranging from tropical, dry to arid to semi-arid, as well as to tropical wet region. So based on the agroclimatic zone, what kind of crops should be cultivated there or sown there, what kind of water requirement should be assigned to the crop, what kind of irrigation and fertilization practices should be done there, that all things will be also covered in this particular code. Apart from that, the type of crops, the socio-economic diversity of the country, and all aspects of agri-food value chain also will be taken into the consideration. Second, it will also become an enabler of quality culture in the Indian agriculture. That means focus is not only in improving the crop yield, but also to improve the quality of the harvested products. Third, to create a comprehensive guide for the farming community in ensuring effective decision making. And last, to integrate relevant Indian standards with the recommended agricultural practices, whether it is in the field of what we can say agricultural machineries, whether it is the field of the use of standard fertilizers, chemicals and pesticides and all that. So basically it will envelop all the other codes also within itself, and that is why we are calling it is going to be a comprehensive code covering the entire agriculture sector from what you can say from beginning to the end. Now the proposed timeline when this code will be completed is believed to be somewhere around in the month of October in the year 2025. However, that is a tentative deadline. Now it has formed the working panels for 12 to 14 specifically designed areas, which will include university professors and R&D organizations who are continuously working on designing and building up such codes. After this, the BIS is planning to provide training to farmers on the NSE and its standard so that it can be implemented without any problem. And in this context and for this purpose, universities are expected to organize training programs of farmers, and the financial assistance for this will also be provided from the Bureau of Indian Standards. So this is going to be the proposed timeline. And last, apart from NSE, the BIS also is trying to build a SADF, that is Standardized Agricultural Demonstration Farms. And this Standardized Agricultural Demonstration Farm are expected to set up basically this farm will be in selected agricultural institutes in the country, and these farms will serve as experimental sites for testing and implementing various agricultural practices and new technologies in accordance with the Indian standard according to the BIS. That means before any technology or any what we can say as methods of agriculture or practices of agriculture can be implemented at a large scale over a large area, it will be basically used or experimented in this SADF. Once it is clear that the particular practice is successful or can be implemented at large scale, then it will be implemented at a farming scale. So basically what we can say, it is a kind of pilot project which will be for experimenting which will act as an experimental site for several agricultural practices. So NSE and SADF are expected to transform the overall agriculture of India, and also it is expected to bring innovation in the agriculture sector. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you understood overall about the NSE and SADF. Thank you very much.